I just realized that YouTube hasn't been live the entire time. So like there's a button on YouTube you need to press called go live that actually lets you, go live. And I didn't press it the entire time. So YouTube does not have any record of the initial part of the stream, which is good because they don't know the truth. YouTube people will never know the things that we've talked about, Ika, you and I exclusively on the Twitch version of the stream. Idiot people on YouTube. Am I being mean? I love YouTube so much. It's like my favorite platform still. As a creative, it's still my favorite platform, which is a weird thing to say. Jeff Bezos. I had to set it so that it would stop showing ads on Twitch like crazy. Because basically what it ended up doing was, let's say I did a 2-hour stream. The first 50 minutes and the last 50 minutes of the stream would guarantee to give you an ad if you just arrived on the page. Which I don't know how to explain that to you, but that's awful. Like that to me is the worst. That's the worst experience for everybody, me included. So let's just say that was not the plan I went with in the end. Because I did not like that plan. The plan did not spark joy, as some would say. I mean, they're never going to do that, so we're just going to let that go. I should probably tell, you know what? I'll do this. One last thing. I'll do it on the, I didn't do it. I didn't announce the stream everywhere because it's me and I'm the greatest YouTuber of all time. But I forgot, one thing I forgot is I wanted to tell everyone what we're talking about today because I think our topics are really funny to me, especially because one of them involves the K-pop group Red Velvet. So I think it's absolutely hilarious. As you already know, this is my kind of humor. This is my kind of funny. Just because it's a little chaotic. Let's say it involves them. It barely involves them. It involves their parent company. So like, I could put them in the thumbnail, but is it morally right to do? Yes. Yes. Okay. Is it morally right to clickbait Red Velvet? Yes. I wanted to make them the thumbnail, but then I was just like, I don't want to deal with whatever horrible copyright strike I'd get that might kill me, so I didn't. But I could have. Anyway. I think I've set up, everything's working. YouTube's up. Awesome. Okay. I think everything should be fine. I'm just not gonna even stress about it. Gonna transition. Did you give this album a listen? Okay, everyone. Hey. Welcome back home. Back where we belong. Welcome back to another episode of the Webcomics Hubcast. With me, Nanthony Nantano, the internet's busiest comic nerd. Today, we've got a lot to talk to you about because it's the Webcomics Hubcast. I only got news. I got news for you. I got news for me. I got news for all of us, right? I got all the information that you might have missed and everything that I found out that it was kind of interesting to me because I know I have to do one of these shows once a week or else I won't be able to keep my track record. If you came from Twitter, God, you came from Twitter. I don't really have anything nice to say because that tweet is very funny to me, but it's representative of everything we're talking about, but it's in a way that I find personally very funny. Anyway, we've got a lot to cover today. I want to talk to you guys about all the book deals. Everybody getting that shmoney, right? Everyone's book deals galore this past like couple of weeks, in the news. Sorry, I just got sent a tweet from Webtoon and it's distracted me entirely. Yeah, okay, I already knew about this. Anyway, book deals galore. This was in my news list, so thank God. Book deals galore this week, this month, this year, right? Because for some reason, everyone's book deals are coming around around this February, around this March, April session. And like I'm finding out, everyone's getting a book deal. We're going to talk about some of that. We're going to talk about how long some of these deals are. You know, I'm not going to sit here and complain. Everyone's getting money, and to some extent, I'm just happy that they are, to be honest. You know, I'm just happy that that's happening for them. We're going to talk a little bit about SakuraCon today. I'd really want to talk about it, just talk about the little bit of SakuraCon controversy that's going around. I want to talk to you guys about AI, Webtoon, Cacao. I want to talk to you guys about Naver adaptations, so the what do you call it? Wattpad adaptations, really. I want to talk to you guys about Cacao's current trajectory as of the end of last month into this month, and how they want to grow as a platform. I want to talk about Image Comics' union contract ratification, which is old as fuck, but I don't think I ever really talked about it before, so I'm bringing it up again. Some layoffs, and of course, the cherry on top, the thing to add to the cake, the thing that really brings things together. A new Webtoon creation tool, and a tool and a website called, and currently what's happening with Scholastic, its merging of its book fairs and book clubs. It's nothing bad, honestly. That one's actually really small. We'll actually start there. I think it's a really small potatoes situation. But essentially, Scholastic is going to be merging its book fairs and its book clubs division into a single unit focused on school reading. We all know Scholastic from growing up. I went to every Scholastic book fair because I had a problem and I wanted to buy manga. Growing up in a third world country, Scholastic was the only way I could get any manga. I could actually get any comics, really, because you couldn't just buy comics where I lived in stores. So Scholastic and American landfills were my biggest ways of getting comics. If you don't know what that last thing's a reference to, if you grew up in any country in the developing world, you would know that a lot of the tech and reading material and stuff that you used to get back in the day, back in the early 2000s, late 90s, even in the early 90s, was essentially stuff that was thrown away from America, shipped to our country to deal with the trash for them, and then people would like scavenge the valuable things and then sell them. My first issue of Spawn is from one of those American landfills. It's usually got a printing error or a minor, or it just was thrown away because it couldn't sell or whatever. It's basically trash, but like, you know, one man's trash, right? So Scholastic merging it, nothing bad. It's nothing negative. In fact, it's just a change that is occurring. And I thought it would be good for people to know, because they realized at some point that their book clubs and book fairs have such great overlap, even though they are very differentiated and handle very different people. It was just better to merge them going into the future so they could continue to encourage young people to read, because reading is fucking fun. Isn't that what we all think? Reading is the funnest thing in the gosh danged world. So I just thought it was a nice little story. I try to get you guys these little stories that don't really do anything bad, you know, mostly positive, nothing to worry about. By the way, that story comes to us courtesy of ICV2. There's a bunch of stories today, Will, because they have good articles on them that I really needed. So I want to just make sure I say that. Okay. Now that we've talked about the fun, nice little thing, let's talk about the Image Comics union contract. So if you guys don't remember, Image Comics Union, the union that started the company Image Comics, called the Comic Book Workers United, right? They have finally ratified a contract. And if you don't know why that's a big deal, it's very simple. Ratifying a contract means that the entire union has voted and agreed that this contract, this document, is a representative minimum viable product that anybody at specific levels of the company should expect. That's a wonderful thing, because what it means is that, one, when it gets signed and agreed upon with Image, it will spread to every other company, because every other company, every other industry professional will start saying, I want that. I want some of that. People will stop working because they see the image contract as a new thing that they can aim for. And hopefully the image contract is as good as it sounds, because I don't think I've seen it. Like, I've looked, but I haven't been able to see it. I haven't been able to see it. I've looked around, couldn't find anything. So maybe it's just me, but in a year when unions have been reaching great strides, for example, last year with Seven Seas, have actually voluntarily recognizing the internal Seven Seas union, the people at HarperCollins reaching an agreement, although I don't know how long that agreement, whether their agreement is still in focus. I'm not paying attention to it. And even a video game store owner, I forget what it's called, Noble Knight or something. Yeah, because that was from last December. I read that. Also reaching a union agreement. It's really good to see that in our creative industry, more and more and more unions are being recognized, and more unions are making big strides, because we, the workers, do not deserve to be fucking pissed on unless that is specifically what we ask for. So, we're doing great. We're doing great, love. And I'm quite happy about it. I'm quite happy to be living in this future. Anyway, moving us forward, moving us along the way, I would love us to talk a little bit about Europe comics. I mean, this happened at the beginning of the year, but I never mentioned it, but I thought it'd be great if we had a little conversation about it at some point. This comes to us courtesy of Publishers Weekly, right? Europe Comics, which is essentially the digital retailer of European comics, well, in Europe. And they mostly sold English versions of European comics. They basically announced that they were going to be shutting down their consumer-facing activities. They're going to stop selling directly to us. No idea how much longer. No idea how that's going to play out over the course of the year. But fundamentally, they basically shut down their English language service. They shut down their Dutch and German stores last year, and I think only the French language site is available. If you don't know what Europe Comics is, only the French language website's available. If you don't know what Europe Comics is, essentially, back in 2015, a bunch of European comic publishers came together and said, fuck it, no one wants to buy our shit because we're European and we speak French, or we're Dutch, or we're Norwegian, whatever, just make fun of them too, right? And we're not as cool as the British with their xenophobia and their hatred. So because we're not as cool as them, that's so bad. That's such a mean thing. I'm joking. That's not true. But they were mostly from non-English speaking communities, and they were like, let's come together. Let's make a service that can provide our comics in English for all of us, right? And let's get our comics out there to the English speaking market. And it was great. They sponsored tons of author tours and convention appearances in NA. I think a great one is Jean-Marc Rochette, the creator of the creator of Snowpiercer. I think he created Snowpiercer. Generally they were just getting out those bande dessines, those Franco-Belgian comics out into the world, along with Italian, Spanish, and other regional comics out into the world, and it was great. It was great. But as of right now, they seem to be in a state of flux. I don't know how long that's lasted, because this is from January. I haven't kept up with the information around them. I kind of just kept this in my little news folder, wrote this brief, and then didn't think about it anymore. But hopefully, they're doing great. Nothing bad's happened with HarperCollins, by the way, Gleamy. Only good things. The union, they came to an agreement with their unions end of last year. No idea how that's still going. I should probably do a follow-up on that, but I will eventually. Now, we talked about some kind of bad news. Let's talk about some even worse news. Wattpad, as of the end of last month, it is known that Wattpad laid off 15% of its workforce, 15% of its workforce, 42 total people in a company of 267, which, isn't fundamentally numerically that many people, but it's still 42 people without a job, and that sucks ass. I hope those people landed on their feet. Essentially, this follows Wattpad's complete and total acquisition and merger by Naver. As of right now, Wattpad This comes after Wattpad basically adding 100 new employees to their staff over the past 2 years. I've already talked about this on podcasts before, but companies were expanding like crazy during COVID, and publishing was definitely one of them. After adding 100 new employees, as of the end of last month, as the end of last month, I believe it was last month. Yeah, last month. Wattpad has laid off 42 people, and they released a statement saying, "The reality is the conditions that have historically enabled us to make such bold moves, they say, to make such bold moves have changed, and we are operating in a very different environment today. After nearly doubling the size of our teams, it is now clear that we need to recalibrate based on our current business needs and realities." Also known as we overhired. So we're fixing that. Wattpad made several changes along with the Naver acquisition. One of the things that they did was they started offering way more money to writers last year, and they continue to do so into this year, into this year. But also, it's good to understand that Wattpad is not a company that is completely in instability, completely stable right now. In January, their president, Jean Lam, left after being at the company for like 2 years. So she's been replaced by another interim president. But it will be interesting to see where that goes. The current interim president, KB Nam, used to be the head of strategy at Naver Webtoon. So again, interesting to see where it goes. As of the question of what is the strike about, I don't remember what the HarperCollins strike was about, but it wasn't like I don't think it went on for too long. I don't remember too much about it. I just know that they got to an agreement. I can check now. In fact, I can do that right now. Yeah, it was a strike about pay. Always about pay. It was so the end of the strike led to an increase in minimum salaries across all levels, along with a one-time bonus of $1,500 to each member of the bargaining unit. They're voting for a union. They're voting for I think they voted for a contract last December. So, it seems to basically just be that HarperCollins employees expected to be paid more. I think most people especially wanted to increase the starting salary because the starting salary was $45,000 and they wanted to raise to at least $50,000, which, is great. And also they wanted people to stop being pressured to work extra hour without overtime pay along with other things. Again, so it was money and wage theft, the usual shit that companies are up to. It's funny how the more things change, the more things stay the same. Classic wage theft. Anyway, continuing our downward trend of kind of depressing news that I'm continuing to tell you because it mildly amuses me at this point. Can we talk a little bit about SakuraCon? So I recently was on Twitter and I saw a great tweet. I think I can show it to you. Let me just make sure. Let me make sure I can show you this great tweet. Oh, there it is. Yeah, this one. Oh, love this tweet. So, if you didn't know this, SakuraCon has allowed pro AI pro AI booth to be set up. That booth is essentially a fan panel, but it is set up. They are doing an AI art. They were doing an AI art primer. Essentially teaching people how to prompt the AI into making them art. Yikes, etc. And they were also other than that, they had basically moved Artist Alley 3 blocks away from the main exhibitor hall. Now, for my non-American people, I just want you guys to see this because this is really relevant for us. Because 3 blocks isn't a thing that most people outside of America really use as a measurement of distance. But guys, this is 3 blocks. This is 3 blocks. This is what 3 blocks means. So let's say you live on Park Lane, 3 blocks away would be Falls Road or vice versa. That's roughly 300 meters, 5-minute walk. But the thing is, this is convention time. So a 5-minute walk is easily a 10-minute walk. And also cities aren't really built like this all the time where it's super smooth. And I don't really know what city SakuraCon is going on in right now. I could have checked, but it wasn't really relevant. But that 10-minute walk could easily be up to 15 minutes. So we're talking a 10 plus minute walk, give or take. Maybe let's call it an 8-minute walk to be fair. An 8-minute walk away from the actual convention is the artist alley. So it's not particularly a great look. Doesn't look great, sis. When you're pro AI content, booth, and when you're letting a pro AI content booth in SakuraCon and you're moving your artist alley away from the main exhibitor hall, this tweet from at Kayozia really just surmises how fucking stupid this entire thing is. I love the video as well because the video is just showing you the path and showing you how long it takes, including stops at the traffic lights and stuff, and how insanely far away this fucking place is. Like, you would think 3 blocks isn't that bad, but it's a lot. That sign wasn't the place, by the way. You're still going. I love this video. Whoever made it is a genius. There it is. This is the artist alley. All 300 artists are here. I suspect 15 minutes in the rain. So I was right. About 15 minutes is I hadn't actually watched this video. I only saw the beginning bit. But around 15 minutes of time it takes to travel between the two. For context, when I was at JPopCon, a very small convention in Denmark. It's a big convention there, but it's a small convention anyway. The very small convention. Walking the distance around the convention all day made me so tired. What happens at the convention is, no matter what's happening, eventually you get really tired. So you get really bored. So you just start walking in circles over and over again just because you have to, right? Because you have to get somewhere, because you have to do something just to keep your brain going. Or maybe you want to revisit a booth. And the thing is, it's never a straight path back to the thing you want. So after you've walked all around and around the exhibitor hall, you got to go back and walk all round and round the artist alley. And I'm not sure how the tickets are being sold, but I know a lot of American conventions sell artist alley tickets per day, instead of selling one ticket all 3 days or all X amount of days. So it's very likely that some artists were there the first day, they just would never have been seen. Now, if that's not true about SakuraCon, then ignore that complaint, but that's the only thing that I'm adding on here as my own personal opinion. It is strange to me that they made this decision, but it isn't the strangest thing. The adoption of AI and the adoption of NFTs and the adoption of dumb tech bro bullshit that is largely fucking move fast, break things, and move fast and break people, really, not really break things, is something that has remained at the forefront of my mind as we move on into the year. When I found out about the AI art trend, I wasn't the biggest anti-AI art person. I wasn't the biggest anti-NFT person at the start. But the longer I continue to see the environments that they foster and the actions by the people who adopt them, the more I begin to realize that maybe, just maybe, these guys kind of suck, and the people who associate with them are doing so only out of the desire to make money and or promote people who make them money. It's kind of a depressing thing to experience, in my opinion. Speaking of AI art, y'all already know what it is. Y'all know what it is. I'm about to bring up the greatest AI art story ever. And by AI art story, I just mean AI story. And by AI story, I mean Korea's Webtoon industry is setting its sights on generative AI. Did you know this? Did you know this? Did you know this? Hey, Sky, good to see you, bud. So, the Korean Webtoon industry as a whole. So this means Webtoon. This means Naver, Kakao, right? Daum, which is owned by Kakao. All of them. I said Kakao. That's like the funniest thing I've said. Anyway, Kakao and Naver and every other small subsidiary that exists, including whatever digital manga companies are coming up in Japan and also working in Korea, all of them have set their sights on generative AI. And the one AI platform that is being talked about a lot right now is one created by the company Anoma AI. Anoma AI is making an engine called the Webtoon engine. It is a generative AI program that aims to essentially simplify the creation of webtoons. Essentially, be a professional webtoon artist, no talent for drawing. You create the story using ChatGPT, and then so essentially you can basically create a story using ChatGPT, and then pump it and then pump all the scenes and stuff into the Webtoon AI image generator and create it. The startup I talked about earlier, Onoma AI, says they will be releasing a piece jointly created by a human Webtoon writer and their AI sometime soon. It was supposed to be the end of this month or the end of last month, March, but I haven't seen it. It's going to be going, but the platform is called Webtoon. I've tried to find it, but it might be something that's blocked by Korean, the Great Wall of Korea. So I need to look more into that. But it is a thing, and they're not the only people. Forgetting fucking Onoma AI and their bullshit, there's also the fact that Kakao has its own internal AI that it's been working on for ages. I believe it's called their image creation model is called Carlo, right? His name's Carlo. I believe it's Carlo with a K. Yeah, I believe it's Carlo with a K. But essentially, their AI is supposed to help with backgrounds and other assets. And also, remember, Webtoon's also involved in AI, if you guys have completely forgotten. Webtoon's AI, last year they released their AI painter, the AI painting tool that helps you with creating your comic. And they've created an entire department that is essentially continuing to work on creating AI to respond to the needs of artists in the industry. It's an interesting thing. Also, the Electronic and Telecommunications Research Institute, ETRI, is developing an AI called DeepToon, an automated Webtoon creation technology with the goal, and they're hoping to release it by 2024. Currently, as it stands, Kakao has basically pumped some of the biggest amounts of money. They pumped bigly into the AI startup ecosystem by creating a 10 billion won, that's about $10 million, more like $8 million fund right now for AI, right? And the company is essentially trying to share its AI, its image creation model, Carlo. And it's also distributed another model called B Discover, I believe, free of charge so people can use. And I think B Discover and also the add-on tack-on tool B Edit are basically there for them to gain materials so that they can build better on Carlo. Just to let you know about that. I thought it was fun. I thought it'd be great if I told you guys what was going on in AI and art right now, because we live in a society, kids. We live in a society, right? I need to remind you, we live in a society. Every time I say that, I laugh because I know how fucking stupid that joke is. I'm only saying it because I'm trying to avoid the fact that it is a little bit depressing that is the world we live in. Anyway, speaking of Kakao and Naver, let's talk about one good thing that Naver is happening to Naver right now. Their film adaptation of Wattpad's Boot Camp. Yay! Woo! Let's go! You guys probably don't remember this, but remember that Naver acquired Wattpad for about $500 million. And after acquiring Wattpad, they created a joint studio called the Wattpad Webtoon Studios with 100 billion won, which is about $80 million in total in global funding, to just invest in IP. And one of such IP that they invested in is the Wattpad comic Boot Camp. I know nothing about it. I've never read it. It was a comic. It was a story. It wasn't a comic. It's a Wattpad novel, Boot Camp. Boot Camp already gained about 26 million views in NA. It's already a pretty popular story, right? And it's got some pretty cool names on it. For example, it's got Drew Ray Tanner, the guy who was on Riverdale, and he was a lead. I think he was the lead role. He's currently the lead role in this show. And they have plans to adapt 3 more popular stories from Wattpad, including a story called Boulevard, which is Spanish, and already has about 100 million readers. All of these are funded 100% by Naver, so there's no secret second fund or whatever. It's all Naver, no Netflix, nothing. And it's going to be released where they choose because it's their money. This is one of the screenshots from the show that I talked about earlier. I forgot what it's called already. Whatever. From that show, I'm going to just look at it in a second. But that's a screenshot from the show. I think it's called Boot Camp. Yeah, Boot Camp. My brain completely blanked and I got it back. Boot Camp. So, that looks fine, but it's such a simple image. I don't think it's much to go off of. And speaking of Naver, let's talk about Kakao. Did you know that Kakao just made a major acquisition sometime around the beginning of this year? So last year, Kakao acquired the music streaming platform Melon. Right? Melon, they bought it for about 1.2 trillion won, which is about $900 million, give or take. Right? And Melon, who is like, I think it was their Spotify, essentially. It was pretty popular. It was well known. It was everywhere. And acquiring that streaming platform means that Kakao was now in a position where they controlled, for some of their musicians, the entire pipeline of their music. If you don't know this, in Asia, media companies don't just do one or two things. We don't just have a rock star and then have a Steven Spielberg Studios and then have a Def Jam Records. You have Def Jam Entertainment Group, and that company owns all the video games and all the movies and all the videos and all the music videos and the streaming platform in its entirety. That's a common thing in Asia. And Kakao has achieved that last year by buying the music streaming platform Melon. Kakao already had their own entertainment group, but they actually expanded it by also purchasing SM Entertainment. If you're wondering why when my tweet I said Red Velvet was involved, that's why Red Velvet is involved. Red Velvet is one of SM Entertainment's groups, I believe, along with other groups that are currently releasing music. They're a popular entertainment company. And why it's relevant for us as a group is that basically Kakao has said that this acquisition of SM Entertainment, including all of their music groups, all of their movie stuff, all of their writing staff, all their audio production facilities, everything that SM Entertainment holds will be part of their larger movement to enhancing their total business in North America. That means we're not just going to be seeing an increase in comics, we're going to be seeing an increase in Kakao everywhere, possibly. You might already know this, but Kakao Comics, I believe, is the app that they've been trying to shill outside of Korea, Kakao Comics or something like that, Kakao Webtoon. I think like Kakao Webtoon, that's what it's called. They've been trying to shill outside of Korea. Because to compete with Tapas, by the way, because it's released in English. It's not even available for my phone. Jesus, I just tried to download on my phone. It's not available. I need to figure out a way to download these things when they're not in my region. Anyway, Kakao Webtoon is one of their expansions that they're making, despite the fact that they already own Tapas and actually Tapas Radish and Uwusha World, and merged those two into the entertainment company Tapas Entertainment Inc. in August, at the end of last year. So it's interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what they're doing going forward, right? And one of the statements released by somebody from their camp was Kakao will seek to expand its business to characters and commerce to go beyond content production and distribution based on the intellectual property of SM Entertainment, based on its global platform. So, we're going to be seeing a lot more of CEO Park Jung-chul's face probably in the news, in the media, as Kakao tries to take over and girl boss their way into the sun. By the sun, I mean the US. Okay, so Plus Ultra. I love that that's the comment I get. Okay, so let's talk about something that I've talked about once on tweets. If you follow me on Twitter, as you should, because God said you should, and I'm God, you would have seen me tweet probably a few weeks ago at this point about how I think Naver supports Webtoon in the weirdest ways with the product Tune It. If you haven't seen this tweet, it is a banger tweet. I'll be showing it on screen right now. And it's relevant because, again, courtesy of ICV2, we'll be talking about the platform Tune It, which I would love to show you right now. And in fact, you know what? I will show you Tune It. One second. Because I don't need, whatever, I'll show you, whatever. I need to show you Tune It in part because I think it's important that you see it. But I also don't want to break your brain. Tune It, I've used the platform, by the way, for context. So don't think this is just like my opinion. I've actually actively used it and gone over it. So I've actually accessed it quite a bit. Tune It is a webcomic platform, sort of, for making comics using 3D models and 3D assets, all sold and created by the parent company, Tune It, of this company. Their whole deal, really, their big draw is that they're saying that they offer the ability to create webcomics for businesses. Some of the example webcomics include The Last Leaf, Anemone, Magic and Thunder, and Devil's Den. These aren't OCs. These are 3D models that they create and sell. I have been on Tunit's platform. In fact, maybe I can log in for you guys for a little bit. Will it work? I don't think it will. It won't let me in. Okay. But I've used Tunit's platform. I've seen their editor. They have like a little Blender-like editor for backgrounds, which, is fine. It's not even the worst thing that they've made. It's kind of clunky. It's kind of worse than Blender, if I'm being honest. But it exists. Here's something I made in it. These assets are all free. But for context, every shader asset costs money. Every character asset costs money. Most assets cost money. And this environment was the only free thing I could get. But I made this in their 3D editor. It runs like crap. It runs on your browser. It doesn't use your graphics card. So if you've got an even more powerful computer, you can't even get the advantages of using that. Again, it's made for companies to make advertising comics. Here are some choice things from the article from my tweet as well that were in my tweet. Tunit has received a promising quote unquote early response, according to the co-founder, believing that Tunit mitigates the hurdle of having to draw, which can unleash even more original content from storytellers. But fundamentally, it is just there for advertisers. They keep saying storytellers, and then they keep doing things that exclusively appeal to advertisers. This is some of the panels from the comics on there. These are ones made by them, by the Tunit team. Okay, so this isn't made by some random people. It's made exclusively, this is their work. So these are the masters of the software at work. I don't know why they stole the cover for Naruto. Either way, just Tunit's whole thing. And I've said some choice things here, but one of the things I said that was really important is the idea of non-artists being able to have an easy way to create comics is not a bad thing, but it rings hollow when it is said by the guy who was being paid by Naver as the CEO of Tunit, but it rings hollow when it's said by a guy who's being paid by Naver, one of the two companies that regularly overworks and underpays its featured creators, and generally its artists, any of the artists it hires, and translators that it hires. So, yeah, he's not sniffing it, by the way, he's reading it. But yeah, I get you. It would be hard to tell. It'd be hard to tell. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I thought it'd be great if we talked about Tunit. Again, Tunit's main thing is appealing to companies. Its whole deal is appealing to companies, and I wish they would stop lying. They have the 20,000 user base, but almost every comic is in Korean. So I don't really know what the fuck they're talking about there. The systems and tools are hard to use and clunky and awful, and they run like shit. Anyway, now to talk about the book deals. Y'all know that there's book deals going on. It's book deal season, baby. Book deal season. After Britsize, the illustrious creative management company, which I wish they would manage me, for God's sakes. Maybe I would actually make some goddamn money. Britsize, run by the agent Britsize. Who would have guessed, right? The agent Britsize, who's actually a big visionary in figuring out the fact that like webcomics actually make money, which sounds really low bar, but like that is the bar the industry was at, and she was the only one actually doing anything about it. After she got some great deals for creators like Graveweaver, and the Covenant creator, I believe, is also a Britsize managed creator. I believe they are, along with Juniper, which we all know from Sub-Zero. And Dea Muniz, who we all know from Blades of Furry, right? After helping those people get some choice book deals with Graveweaver the standout getting to sign on with Viz Media, with I Am the Grim Reaper, good, big up to her, good for her. Love to see a girl boss slaying, right? After those massive book deals, sometime at the end of the beginning of this year. End of last year and the beginning of this year, there's more book deals being announced with Meredith Moriarty's. This comes to us from Bleeding Cool, but also announced through Webtoon literally 5 seconds ago. Meredith Moriarty's Third Shift getting a Webtoon print deal. If you don't know this, Webtoon has their service Unscrolled, and that's their thing to keep all their prints in-house, which is a reaction to something that I haven't talked about here on stream, but I would love to talk about soon. Please, I just want to get to it before spring, before the end of summer. But as a reaction to something internally that occurred, Webtoons Unscrolled has really ramped up its acquisition of content by signing book deals, for example, with Meredith Moriarty's Third Shift Society, and signing I believe, how many book deal was that? Was it one book? It was a 2-book deal. Meredith represented herself in this, but it was a 2-book deal. And signing on, this is a Bleeding Cool article, and signing on Unfins to a 7-book graphic novel series. The fuck? right? So after signing these two massive creators, these two titans of industry, onto these great book deals, there's more and more people getting more and more book deals, 4 book deals, 6 book deals. It's great to see, and I'm happier and happier and happier to see more and more people getting their comics printed as they deserve. Webtoon Unscroll's first wave of comics is going to be releasing this year, or I think one has already released, but the rest are going to be releasing. No, actually no, the first wave is already released. The first wave is released. I think the only one that hasn't come out is Everything is Fine. But the standout information from Webtoon Unscrolled for this year is Tower of God selling 3.5 million. With his 3.5 million subscribers, getting a book release. True Beauty with his 6.5 million subscribers, although that's kind of a complicated relationship that they have with that comic, getting a book release, along with Doombreaker, Cursed Princess Club, Boyfriend, and Everything is Fine, also getting big book releases this year. It's gonna be incredible. They plan to publish about Webtoon Unscrolled's Webtoon Unscrolled's game is to publish 24 series a year. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And I hope these creators are getting really good, fair deals and working with their agents. Okay? Please make sure you work with your agents. Never go into agreements, never go into negotiations alone. You might be the smartest person on the planet, but you will get bamboozled if you're working with a company that its sole aim is to undervalue you and to play hardball, especially if you have other shit to be doing. Anyway, and if a company won't negotiate with you, if you have an agent, tell them to get fucked, because you deserve better than that. Anyway, we're living in the future, kids. We're living in the future. There's books everywhere. There's books everywhere. And there's comics everywhere too. This is going to be one of my shortest ones, one of my shortest live streams, because I don't want to go into a big tirade, a big rant, a big hoopla, if you will, because I have other things I want to get to today. But I thought I'd give you a fill-in, fill you up, give you, get you going on the good news and the bad news that's in the industry today. There's one piece of news I didn't cover. It was about the Marvel Entertainment chairman, Isaac Perlmutter, but I can't be asked. It's not really worth covering. So it's not that interesting. Oh, I forgot to also mention another book deal that's coming out is Viral Hit. Viral Hit. If you guys know Viral Hit, I think the scanlation name is How to Fight. They got a 3-book deal as well. So that's pretty fun. And that's it. That's me today. I'm sorry it's super short today. I just wanted to make sure I hit all the key things and then headed myself out. So please ask me any and all questions, because you got my attention for a little bit longer. Ask me questions. It's a great time to get me. Tell me things, ask me about things I said, things that you missed, things that you wanted to talk more about. Let me know. Yeah, the tier list at the beginning of this week killed me. If you haven't watched a tier list video, you should. There's 3 tier lists there's 3 videos in the series, in the new series called Reader's Digest, where I break down where I just criticize some comics. And it's a new series that I make it so that I can have a more fun interaction with comics instead of just doing a Webcomics Hubcast and then crying every day. So, we're looking forward to it. Probably my shortest stream ever, to be honest. Oh, God. What's my favorite color? My favorite color is black and blue, but I'm actually thinking that I will be including dark purple, because someone I really care about told me that dark purple looks good on me. So I'll probably be including dark purple. I already wear dark purple on the stream. You guys see my model with dark purple, but I've never actually worn dark purple in real life. The reason why my hoodie is dark purple is a problem with the artist who made this model. She thought that my black hoodie was purple. So that was funny. How do you think scroll to trad format will work out in the future? I know you didn't like it, how they did solo leveling. It's going to be weird because it depends, right? The scroll game is very dependent on the scroll format. For example, a great example of this is Heartstopper is a scroll format comic, but Heartstopper was drawn in a very specific way. In a way where the comic was sectioned off and made it so easy to adapt. So the adaptation into book is great. And also the panels are wide. There's very few vertical oriented only shots. So I'm thinking that for comics like Heartstopper, for slice of life stuff like Unfin's comic, it's going to be a great and easy ride for them, especially if they do a few redraws to really nail the look. For comics, a lot more like Let's Play and solo leveling, it's going to be a harder game. The action space isn't going to benefit very much from the scroll to trad scroll to trad transition. But it'll be funny to see going forward. Is there a sideways panel tier list coming? Like maybe a favorite panel tier list in general? I'm trying to do a new video series on Webtoon abs, as asked of me by fellow member of the Webcomics Hub collective, Pearl Seaman. So Pearl Waters. I need to keep using their writer name because their actual name sounds it's YouTube unworthy. So Pearl Waters. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see. I think the ab tier list will be very funny. We're trying to get abs from he's, she's, theys, and thems, just so we can get the full spectrum of abtastic abness. About converting comics again. One of the things I should say, by the way, if you're looking out for people converting comics in from scroll to traditional, I would recommend looking at a lot more indie productions. Indie productions, I think, are going to have some of the best scroll to traditional outputs coming out here. Gleamy is currently converting their comic, but like lots of creators that convert their comic are doing it fantastically because they care, because they give a shit, and that's hard to do when you're a company. Companies don't care, so. Very happy for that. And Gleamy, I'll be buying your book. You know this already, so let's not play these games. Gleamy says, I'm just one person, so in a way, it is easier because there's no back and forth between different roles, but at the same time, it is a ton of work. It's tedious. Yeah, it's very tedious. The redraws especially, because sometimes a redraw is, I need to redraw a little bit of hair, and sometimes a redraw is, I need to redraw an entire scene from top to bottom. So it can just feel like you're rehashing content that you've already hit, solved, and left, and it can be very exhausting. But I look forward to what the people are going to be creating in the future. Yeah, there's a company called Rocket Ship that does converting, and they have their Let's Play book. It's not very good. I mean, it's better than everyone else's, but how do I say this? I have very personal reasons for telling you this, and I want to say this to you very clearly. You can disagree with me and work with them, and I want you to know that I will not judge you. I will not think less of you. Make your money. You deserve to make money. I do not think you should work with Rocket Ship unless they are offering you a very, very, very good deal for lots of little reasons. Some of them moral, some of them ethical, but you do you. That's a personal opinion, very personal opinion. Especially because I know people who are better at printing and will happily learn how to help you and learn how to convert better so that you can get the content that you want. So that's my opinion. You're not gonna get the popcorn until the stream. You will know when the popcorn comes, it'll all make sense. I promise you. I promise you everything's gonna make sense in a second. I just need my assistant and I to get off our lazy asses and get the stream ready. This is why you should give me money on Patreon, guys. If I have money on Patreon, I can pay people to help me finish projects earlier. Because otherwise, projects basically move at the speed of me. And I am slow as hell. So, it's what it is, kids. It's what it is. It is what it is. Oh my God. Okay. That's everything for me. No more questions? The class is satisfied. If you're watching this after the fact and you're listening to this, right, drawing your Webtoon, I love you for being one of the beautiful Webtoon creators in my community, right? But if you're doing that, please give me your opinion on everything and everything and anything I talked about today down in the comments. I will be replying to them because I read every single comment. Even if I've never replied to you, I've read your comment. Okay, so hit me up with your thoughts, your feelings. I know this is a very sudden stream with no warning, so you're probably mostly going to be watching this after the fact, but it's life. Gleamy art solidarity. We do be living, we do be vibing. Imagine being jobless in the year 2023. Couldn't be me, says the person who works as a teacher and is miserable as a teacher. Nah, I'm fine. I actually love my job. I actually kind of love my job. It's a pretty good job. Anyway, so that's it for me. I've been Nen. You've been awesome. And I'll see you guys next fucking week. The economy is in shambles. Oh my God. Thank you to my beautiful patrons. Thank you to my beautiful patrons, especially my top two most beautiful people, X-Sensei and Jenny Tunes. Happy fucking Easter, kids. Live your best lives and make your parents proud. Good night. Funny stories, I'll say them in the Discord server because I'm in the voice chat most nights. So you'll probably see me tonight or tomorrow. All right. Goodbye.